Welcome to the final episode of Community Question School Resource Officers. In this video series, we've taken a deeper look at the School Resource Officer millage proposal that appears on Midland County voter ballots for the November 6th election. The School Resource Officer millage will provide 5 new SROs, one each to Bullock Creek, Coleman, and Meridian schools, as well as an officer at both Midland Public Middle Schools. The millage will also support the 2 current SROs at Dow and Midland High Schools. This initiative has been supported by the administrations of each of these school systems, and we wanted to find out why. So we asked Midland Public Schools Principal Jeff Jaster and Dr. Steve Poole to tell us about their experiences with school resource officers in their schools.
For me as a principal, I think there's several benefits. The first one, and the one that's most obvious, is probably the school safety aspect of having an SRO. It's obvious that just having a police car parked in front of the school is a deterrent, and anybody who might have bad intentions or, wish to do some kind of harm in a school building certainly would have to think twice before entering a building. I also would add that our resource officers, just the physical presence in the hallways, the kids get to know them, and I think there's a level of comfort with the students just to have a resource officer in the school, given some of the things that have happened around the nation in terms of school violence.
My experience as an assistant principal long time ago was before we had SROs in the building. So we had a lot more fights. We had a lot more, there were a lot more drugs that were in the schools. And when the SRO came, when I was at Midland High School as an assistant principal, we saw those significantly decline. And fights are something that they do not happen very much anymore. And the drugs are something, between the drug dogs coming in and the officer being here, we have very limited offenses anymore.
The other thing that I think is really a benefit is the relationship building that happens. When you think about all of our stakeholders, students, parents, staff members, it's an opportunity for people to interact with police officers that they wouldn't otherwise have. And so I think there's a lot of trust that's built.
There are more eyes that we have in the school, there are more ears that we have in the school, and I think that them just being visible and Officer Soule going around and meeting students and trying to get to know them on a personal level only helps the Dow High School community and the culture that we establish here.
They'll come up and just ask him questions about, maybe it's a driving issue. They just took a driver's training test and they got a question wrong, but what should the answer have been? They'll ask him things like that. There'll be incidents where they maybe have observed somebody crossing the street, not at a crosswalk that's, is jaywalking. They'll ask him questions about that. So he's always approached to do his police officer type duties. But then once those connections are made, the kids will come back and they'll talk to him about common interests that they have.
They'll go out of their way to say good morning to him or how are you doing, and ask, do you have any questions for me? I think that all of them have their own personality that they would put on a school district, and Officer Soule is starting to do that here as well.
It's just nice to have kids see that there are a lot of adults in the building who care about them.
We hope you've enjoyed this video series, Community Question School Resource Officers. For more information on the School Resource Officer millage proposal, please visit www.cityofmidlandmi.gov/SRO. You can stay informed on what's happening in Midland by watching the MCTV network on television, following us on Facebook and YouTube, or by listening to our podcast. Thank you very much for watching.